I can see the difference between 30 years ago when I really started to become an entrepreneur and today that there is more and more women in science, there is more and more women in research. And this is, to me, this is so important because definitely I can see it at conferences, you know, women are taking their place in the world of science, of technology, of research, which is absolutely critical. I think this award will really help. What can we do practically? It's really, okay, let's put it from the personal point of view, which is really what I can actually say. What I do, apart from my work in my company, I give a lot of lectures. I go to universities and schools to really share the vision and share the idea that everybody, but particularly women, if we want to do something, we can do it. You know, we've got to inspire others. I think once you get to the point of being one of the finalists for this Inventor Award, we have to be role models for other women. And to me, this is absolutely one very important part of my work, to make sure that, you know, my contribution to inspiring others is there. As a person, and then as a, you know, as a nation, if you like, as the world, we really need to give more and more opportunities to women, because to me, you know, we've got such a huge resilience and we have such a huge determination most of the times that we can do many things. You know, we can do nearly anything we feel like and we want if we really get guidance and very much inspiration as well. We really need to feel that we can. The patent and applying for my patent at the European Patent Office at the beginning of my idea was absolutely pivotal, super important, because first of all, you need to protect your idea, right? Particularly at the beginning. It's really important because if you don't do that, somebody can take that idea and make it their own. So to me, it was very important. I was doing a PhD in the Royal College of Art and Design in London. And, you know, there's so many ideas in places like these, creative places. And it was very, put into our minds that, look, the most important thing, you have ideas, and those ideas, and if they can become products, they need to be protected. And to me, it was particularly very important because from the idea and the patent, I could have access to funding, okay? Because a company without intellectual property has very little value at the beginning. So the intellectual property being protected through a patent gave me the platform to start the company and look for seed capital. So in all, it has been absolutely very important. And I would advise anybody to look carefully at what they do and think, is this something worth of protection? It's very important. Research is an ongoing thing. For example, Piñatex, I have worked with Piñatex for more than 10 years now, and the research and development continues going. I think the world, our planet, needs more and more help, okay? We cannot go extracting raw materials as we do virgin materials. We have to think differently. We have to think that, you know, what is it needed for people and planet? And research really should be focused in, from my point of view, which is a material designer and creator, right? I'm not talking about science of, let's say, medicine, for example. I'm thinking about materials which need raw materials. So in that way, how can we contribute to make sure that whatever we develop, it has a positive impact on people and planet? So research and development is absolutely key. We are working for a good few years now with a chemical company called Stahl, which is headquarters in Holland, but also they have offices in Spain. And, you know, they are developing bio resins with us. Basically, we use their resins and, you know, they develop them specifically for piñatex, and this is really the way we think all the time. How can we make it better? How can we take the, if you like, the toxic, if there are materials in the product, for something that is better for the environment. And for this, you need constant research and development and constant collaboration with scientists, with chemists, with even, agronomists. It's absolutely key. A product needs to have the qualities that you just said. A product needs to have the commercial positive impact in society. I'm thinking about the supply chain, right? I think this is really important, and sometimes we forget that a product is not just the material we can have in front of us. A product represents a supply chain which is, from people, in our case, piñatex, it goes from farming communities to laboratories, to industrialized, textile industrial processes, to finishing, to the final client, which is, a company that is making products, and then to the consumer. I think the humane side is really important, and we take care of that by working directly with farming communities and everybody we work with. The sustainable side, which is the ecological side, is pivotal, but we also work with a waste material to start with. And this means that we're not really extracting any natural resources from the earth to create our first raw material for our product. And then economically, it makes sense for everybody. So I think a product needs to have and be based on the three pillars of society, which is, the economic side, the social side, and the ecological side. I think it depends which consumers, but I think more and more consumers are being more educated. Look, there you are asking me questions. Your generation is much more educated than my generation in a way, and you've got even the, the younger generation, which they're out there confronting, policies, confronting, many agendas that they don't agree with. So I think that consumers are more and more aware and are more and more actively asking for transparency and for solutions. And because they're more and more aware and more educated, they know what to ask for. They are much more aware of, for example, if you look at a t-shirt, okay, it's made from what? Is it cotton? Is it a mix? Is it polyester? And they start to understand that polyester and cotton, that's not really good, because then it's not going to be able to be recycled again properly. Where is it made? Is it made in China? Have we got traceability? All these things, I think younger generation are more and more aware. But I think there is still a lot to do, and we need to help them. And this is actually a very good opportunity, what we are doing right now, talking to you and saying we need to help them to make sure that we support their ideas and their vision with our actions, which is to make sure that we develop products that they absolutely have a positive impact on people and on our planet instead of a negative impact. So we need to help, and they need to help us as well by choosing with their mind and their heart, why am I doing this? And who is going to benefit from this, my action of buying a product? So the consumer has huge responsibility as an individual and huge power to decide. And we have a huge responsibility to make sure that we develop the right product, and also that we give the right information for the consumer to make the right decision. The company is my 5th company, so I have been an entrepreneur all my life. That's all I know, apart from being a consultant at one point, but that's because I was an entrepreneur. To become an entrepreneur is not an easy thing. You are very much on your own at the beginning, okay? Particularly if you have invented a product, in my case, and it's kind of ahead of time, right? Because when I developed piñatex, there was really not any product like that in the market. So people are really, they don't believe. You've got to be very resilient. you've got to believe in yourself very much, and you really have to be extremely determined that what you do and what you really, your idea has, I think in my case, great benefit for people and planet, and that you are going to go there because you believe so much in yourself and your idea. So for me, an entrepreneur has to be somebody that has a vision, a visionary, determined, with a lot of energy, enthusiasm, and basically that they do not give up. And this is, to me, the formula to be a successful and an impactful entrepreneur. I think we can increase this figure, as we have been speaking, by education is absolutely critical, right? I mean, we are very privileged here. We're talking, you know, we have access to education. I feel very privileged that I have done my full education. I had grants and I had, you know, help. But again, I work in places like in the Philippines with these farming communities that they do not have access to education. So I think personally, I'm now starting to work on projects to help or to share my knowledge, my wisdom with, you know, not just at university level, but also at primary school level. And I think the most important thing is politically, I mean, the policies of governments to make sure that women have access to education. That is the most important thing. After that, it takes really role models, you know. I mean, think about science in particular. There's so few role models that are women. I'm very proud of this award because to me, you know, I always had role models, and to have role models that you can say, if she can do it, I can do it. This is superbly powerful as well. And I think this is really important, that, you know, education is absolutely key. The support, that people believe in you, and for that you have to believe in yourself, but you've got to really also have certain structure to grow up, particularly as a scientist, researcher, innovator. And in my case, I believe that it's very important that I am able to become a role model and say to everybody, like I can tell you, I can tell to school children, you can do it because I can do it. You can do it. I can help you if I can, but please believe in yourself. And then hopefully, you know, the structure to grow within the educational system and the social system is there. It's rather complex, but we have to believe in ourselves as women, you know. It's super important as well. The biggest risk is not to have the right advice. You know, I think you can have great ideas, but if you do not have the backup, you know, knowledge of what it is to run a business, for example, how to get funding, who can advise you rightly, you can really be in a very bad situation of people taking advantage or starting something and running out of money, and then you've got to give up. So to me, the most important thing, and in my experience, is that I would say in my experience when I did my PhD, and that's not so long ago because I finished it in 2015, you know, I was very lucky to be in an incubator, and then you really get advice from everywhere. You can get scientific advice, but particularly business advice, and in a way this advice of protecting you value, which is in many cases when you're an entrepreneur, you IP. Also financially, you really have to get the right advice, because most entrepreneurs, I believe, don't have the money, the capital. So how do you get the capital? You have to write a very good business plan. You have to really know where you are going. You have to know your product. What markets would it be right for the product? What is the price point of that product? What are the guarantees? How do you present it? Aesthetic, the design. It's a huge amount of knowledge, because you have to be kind of what we say in English, a jack of all trades, right? You have to know everything, a little of everything. That's why get the right support, and do not be afraid, this is my advice, to ask anybody, the right people, like a lawyer, please, can you help me? I'm starting this and I need to know what are my securities, my legal rights, you know, I'm a financial person. Please, can you help me to get a business plan ready? If it needs design, you know, help, but ask advice all the time. And again, we're going back of, you need to believe in yourself and always feel, I need help, but I'm the pillar of what I'm doing, and I take the advice and I act on what I really believe is right for me and for my project. So can you see the balance? It's got to be that you ask for advice and you need to listen, and then you have to believe in yourself and say, right, I'm taking this advice, and I continue my path. You get obstacles all the time. That's why I was saying you've got to have a huge determination, enthusiasm, and believe in yourself. The first obstacle, particularly in my case, when you develop a material that obviously it's a unique material, that's why it has a patent and won this award, is that people, usually they don't believe it because they have never seen it, you know. This is really, well, it's the way it is. If you do something that is new in the world, people usually say, well, I'm not sure because, you know, I don't know about it. So you have to be very clear and very determined that if people say no to you, and, you know, I have written hundreds of emails, I have spoken to hundreds of people, and they were saying, yeah, we'll get back to you, but they just didn't listen because they did not believe. Okay, so you do get this. That's why it's very important to get support. Then the next one is financial support. It's important. I had to remortgage my house, but I was lucky to have a house. Otherwise, you've got to ask for either loans, grants, scholarships. You really have to have the funding to back your idea. And then you have to have the knowledge and the sharing of this, you know, community of help that you need from the scientific world, from the financial world, from the, you know, from the legal world. So you've got to have support as well. And I think the difficulty is really to put together a team as well. Who are the right team and how can you build a team? And then the difficulty goes back into, you've got an idea, you've got to put it into a prototype. Then the prototype has to go into a production prototype. The production prototype has to be proven that it can be commercially available. So can you see, you go from step to step, and then if it is commercially available, you have to put it out in the market. So you really go from step to step, and there are always mountains to climb. So you think you climbed a mountain, you think, phew, great, I've got this sorted. And then you look and you think, wow, there's another bigger and a bigger and a bigger out there. So you really always go, you know, with different challenges. But I think the most important thing is, again, that the challenges are there. You will not be able to go smoothly into any processes, and you have to take it like this. Okay, this is the next challenge. How can I do to get over this next challenge? Who can I talk to? What is my next plan? So yes, it's about planning, and it's about thinking that this is a challenge today, but tomorrow this is a solution for something. And this is really the important thing. My advice to women is move, go, believe in yourself, and believe that if you really have a good idea in whichever part of, you know, the world or the system, you just have to go for it, and do not take no for an answer, because today that door that is closed, it will bring you to the next door that will open for you. So this is really my advice.